The first 3 or 4 months, we just said to our solicitor, could you do the interviews? I mean, I have no interest whatsoever in being on the television, and I just think it was made so much easier for us. That's really important, and to make us feel that Connor was important was so important to us. It wasn't one of these drop in and parasite off a sort of devastated family jobs at all. It was always a really serious endeavour.
I guess he was the focus of attention when he was talking, because he was so funny, and he was always doing something funny. Like, he would always, if we went to a family party and there was cake, he'd have about 50 cakes before my mum would even notice he was eating them. And then he'd be like, how many cakes have you got? 1. My mum would be like, Connor, how many cakes have you eaten? Okay, 10, I'm sorry. Like, it's like always cheeky and like trying to get away with things.
It did. I mean, it started local, and it remained a story. It remained a central story on local radio, local BBC radio, and the local television news for 2 or 3 years. As the story got bigger and bigger, they really kept that local focus. It was always Connor's photo on the news. They always sort of kept the sort of history of the story unfolding at the forefront. And another thing that was done, which I remain just so chuffed with to today, is that when Connor's inquest was on, it was obviously a really distressing 2 weeks, and at the end of it there was a lot of media attention from national news stations and all sorts, and it was the local media who produced a short film that had the kids talking about Connor in it, and to see them talking about their brother at that point where we knew that he'd been failed so badly, it was just such a human touch and such an inhumane story. And I sort of think that all the way along they'd played it just right. And it's remarkable. I'm such a fan of local news these days.
First tonight, in the last hour, the chairman of Southern Health NHS Trust has resigned. It follows strong criticism from the Care Quality Commission over the Trust's treatment of patients and the failure to properly investigate hundreds of deaths.
It laid the groundwork that when eventually more national news bodies became interested, that there was a sort of level of expertise already in place. So I think it really did facilitate what went on to become a national news story in a way we never expected. I get stopped on the street still, people saying, you know, your son was lovely, or I'm so sorry. I just think that the local media just gave it a gravitas that Connor deserved, that he wasn't going to get otherwise.